How many times a day do you look in the mirror? For some, like myself, you have brown hair and hazel eyes. For others, like maybe you have blonde hair and blue eyes. Essentially, biology is what makes you yourself, me, myself, and a serial killer a serial killer. For this reason, biological factors are the most important topic to focus on when conducting serial killer research. Before I elaborate further, I would like to establish my credibility. I'm a student at East Tennessee State University studying psychology and criminal justice. For this reason, I have conducted extensive research into serial killers, their behaviors, motives, and crimes they've committed. To outline this presentation, I will first go into my value stock issue, which consists of setting limitations and providing definitions, followed by establishing criteria. I will then apply said criteria. The relevance of this topic essentially just lies in enhancing public safety. We must understand the threat in order to prevent it. Now that I've went over this presentation, I would like to move into my value stock issue. As I said before, the basis of this presentation lies in the importance of biological factors in serial killer research. This should be the top of anyone's list, as like I said this before, it is important to understand the threat in order to prevent it. Biological factors are probably the most difficult to understand in terms of why serial killers commit the crimes they do, and this makes it dangerous. First, I would like to provide some definitions of biological factors and a serial killer. In my personal definition, a biological factor is any physical or chemical part of an individual's makeup that affects their behavior, appearance, or health. According to Psychology Today, in a 2024 article, Serial Killers, a serial killer is any individual who kills more than one person over a period of time with cooling off periods in between. To set my limitations, I will only be looking at individuals who killed more than one person and who took cooling off periods in between each crime. Now that I've looked at my value stock issue, I would like to establish my criteria. Focusing more on biological factors in serial killer research will allow criminal justice professionals to understand past serial killers in order to catch future ones. It will be useful in court in terms of sentencing when looking at the individual's biological makeup and how that affected the crime that they committed. And it will open doors to understand individuals' genetic makeup and what parts of said genetic makeup create a serial killer. This will lead us with the opportunity of hopefully understanding which parts we can focus on and change them before it's too late. Like I said before, my first criteria stated that focusing on biological factors in serial killer research would allow criminal justice professionals to understand past serial killers in order to catch future ones. According to a 2014 article, Neurodevelopmental and Psychosocial Risk Factors in Serial Killers and Mass Murderers by Claire S. Emalyne, I think that's how you say her name, and others, becoming aware of an autism spectrum disorder presence in serial killer Richard Ramirez, who was arrested in 1985, later aided in the identification of serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer, who was arrested in 1991. Because Dahmer presented essentially the same profile as Ramirez, they were able to develop a biological profile of Ramirez in order to catch Dahmer. As I said before, my second criteria is that biological factors can be useful in court in terms of looking at sentencing, especially when it comes to the mitigating factors and how the biological factors affected the individual's state of mind and why they committed the crime. According to a 2010 online article, which is titled Italian Appeal Court, A Genetic Predisposition to Commit Murder, by Francesca Fiorenzo and others, killer, I'm not exactly sure how to say his name, I'm going to try, Abdelmalek Bayout, I'm just going to call him Bayout from now on, was giving a reduced sentence in 2010 based on the discovery of an error in his genetic makeup. This error is called the MAOA gene. Because of this so-called error in his genetic makeup, it was proven that Bayat was prone to commit murder and had an impaired ability to control his actions. Like Bayat, other killers have been found to have this genetic error as well, and have therefore received lesser sentences based on this gene because it's considered a mitigating factor. My last and third criteria states that focusing on biological factors in serial killer research will open doors in understanding an individual's genetic makeup and which areas we can specifically focus on in terms of prevention. According to a 2024 online article titled Serial Killer, Nature versus Nurture, How Serial Killers Are Born, by the American Academy of Experts in Traumatic Stress, the relationship between the orbital frontal cortex, the anterior cortex, and the amygdala plays a large part in controlling the negative and violent emotions, and in brain scans of serial killers, this relationship was not functioning properly. Because of information like this, we can target where the abnormality is coming from. So whether it be the prefrontal cortex, the amygdala, or the anterior cortex, we can look at this and we can implement treatment and therapy directed at the specific part of the brain in order to control impulses and hopefully restore the relationship in the brain. So looking at these criteria, the value of biological factors in serial killer research is the most important because it provides so many positive outcomes to the criminal justice field, as well as enhances public safety. So to sum this all up for you all, I see that biological factors are the most important to look at when looking at serial killer research, and that is what we discussed today. Through my application, I basically proved that understanding biological factors will allow criminal justice professionals to understand past serial killers to prevent future ones, be useful in court in terms of sentencing, and third, open doors in understanding individuals' genetic makeup and where we can target specific treatment strategies for those who are predispositioned to be a serial killer. Overall, serial killer research is an ever-changing field, and because of this, different topics are going to be focused on at different times. However, biological factors are constant because we are all biological human beings. Therefore, it is the most important to focus on. As I said before, biological factors make you, and they make me, myself. But ultimately, and most dangerously, they make individuals like Jeffrey Dahmer, the cannibal and serial killer that he is infamously known to be. Thank you.